Hello students, welcome to Mesology. This video is with the solution of the biology paper uploaded for the students of class 9. So let's get started with the answers. Answer to question number 1 subpart A is incineration, that is the process of reducing the waste by burning. Second answer is sludge, which is used as a manure but is produced by the secondary treatment of effluents. The third answer is bagasse, which is a waste produced from sugarcane. The next subpart D, it is Geneva in Switzerland, where the headquarters of WHO is located. And finally, it was the task of the World Health Organization to provide quarantine. Question number 2 is to differentiate between the pairs. The first is antibody and antibiotics. Antibodies are special chemicals found in the blood which act against the germs or their secretions, whereas antibiotics are chemical substances produced by microorganisms that can kill or inhibit the growth of other microorganisms. Then antiseptic and disinfectant. Antiseptics are mild germ-killing chemicals that are applied on the skin or on the body parts. Whereas disinfectant, these are strong germ-killing substances which are generally applied on spots or on surfaces like the floor of the house or in the hospitals. Then it is innate and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is natural or native immunity by virtue of genetic constitution, but acquired immunity is one which is gained during the lifetime of an individual, usually after suffering or by vaccination. Next, it is endemic disease against pandemic disease. An endemic disease is found in a certain area only, as for example, case of yellow fever. A pandemic is one which is widely distributed worldwide, like AIDS, or what we suffered recently was the COVID. Then we come over to the epidemic and the sporadic diseases. Epidemic are diseases that spread out affecting large number of people at the same time, like plague, whereas sporadic, there are scattered individual cases of the disease. For example, it happens in the case of cholera. Then we move on to question number 3 with matching. Match terms under column A with those of B. So for the large surface area, the answer is alveoli. For the breathing movements, it is the diaphragm. For swallowing, it is the epiglottis. For voice, it is Adam's apple. And the word cartilaginous matches to the bronchi with the available terms. So you're only shifting the column B in order to make perfect pairs. Generally, you should not shift the terms of column A at all. Just shift the terms under column B to make the perfect matches with one another. Next we move on to question number 4. Question number 4, you have to name the kind of joint present between the given bones. So the first given to you is about the partially movable joint. The second one which is provided to you is the hinge joint. Hinge joint that is present between the phalanges of your fingers. The next is the ball and socket joint, that is on the shoulder joint between the glenoid cavity and the humerus. The part D is gliding joint present in the ankle bones, and part E is immovable joint which is present between the bones of the cranium. The bones present in the skull or the cranium. Question number 5 is a diagrammatic question. It has two subparts. In the first subpart A, you got to draw the internal anatomy of a tooth and label at least 5 parts. All labelings, if it is done towards one side, either left or right, is the best choice. In order to make it understandable, I have put the labelings together just where the structures are shown. But in an exam, you are supposed to pull it out with the arrows and then make the labelings. Subpart B of question number 5 is also with a diagram, but you have certain numbered parts to be labeled. So, part 1 is patella, part 2 is ligament, part 3 is synovial fluid, where you are given 2 arrows to show correctly where it starts from and how much it is filled. Then subpart 4 is cartilage, and finally subpart 5 is tibia, that is the bone who is in connection with the femur. Question number 6 is fill in the blanks, mostly with the causative organisms for the different diseases. In the first case, cholera, which is caused by Vibrio cholerae. The second is TB or tuberculosis, which is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And the third one is about the typhoid disease, which is caused by Salmonella typhi. And then subpart D is about the bacillary dysentery, which is caused by Shigella species. And the last subpart E is the amoebic dysentery, which is caused by Entamoeba histolytica. In writing these scientific names, which comprises of a generic and a specific part, the generic name starts with a capital letter and the specific name starts with a small letter. It should also be underlined when you write in your handwriting. Otherwise, it's usually mentioned in the italics. Next, we move on to question number 7. Here, question number 7, you have to define the following. The first is oxygen depth. During anaerobic respiration, there's accumulation of lactic acid in the skeletal muscle, giving it a feel of fatigue. This is called oxygen depth. The next is the biological control, which is usually done by certain organism. In this case, we are speaking of the fish Gambusia, which can selectively devour the mosquito larvae to prevent the spread of diseases, or at least the vectors of diseases. This is indeed the biological control. Then we have to, define the residual volume. This residual volume is the air which is always left in the lungs even after forcibly breathing out, which amounts to around 1500 ml. The next is vasoconstriction, which is the reduced blood supply to the skin during winters to conserve energy. Then it is the modified sebaceous glands that open on the margins of the eyelids. They are called the meibomian glands. So, definition, you have to be very particular about the words you use. You are not supposed to write big sentences. You are just expected to write the perfect words that match to the definition and nothing beyond it, because any wrong word used takes away your marks. The last question is to underline the term which does not match with the animal. Subpart A is Hydra with the 3 words against it. Hydra is not a crustacea, so you have to underline crustacean. Subpart B, Pisces. They don't have eardrums, so underline eardrums. Subpart C, the animal is bat. Bat is not aves. It is a mammal and under chordates. So aves has to be underlined. Subpart D, you have whales. The whales are mammals and they have blubber, but they don't have gills. Next is earthworm. Earthworm is an invertebrate and annelid, but it is never an insect. So you have to underline insecta. Thank you for watching. If you liked my video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to it. Thank you once again.